Hey guys, Jowell here, and welcome back to another episode. And also time for a rant. I know you guys' favorite. The only time I hear from you guys. But here we are. It's time for a rant. I mean, here we go. It's time for a rant. I have everything written down here, my notes and everything, so I can pretty much talk about all the key stuff that I've been hearing about from many people here on YouTube that's been really complaining and just really like just pissed off, pretty much just ranting as well on Nintendo and everything like that with that the Switch 2 Direct and everything a few days ago that I talked about last week and everything that I talked about. And also a lot of people is not just not happy. They're not happy with what they've seen and everything like that. And honestly, like from a lot of things they talked about, because I watched this one video, damn, I forgot his name, honestly. But I watched it like 2 days ago. And a lot of things he talked about I honestly missed because I pretty much like rushed through it and everything, like skipped through a lot of stuff. I know I mentioned that when I gave my thoughts on the direct a few days ago and everything like that. I just skipped through a lot of the stuff. I really talked about the things that I really wanted to talk about and everything like that, like things that piqued my interest. So I didn't really pay attention to a lot of other stuff. Like when it came to the DLC, when we're talking about like how you have future DLC for a game that's not even out yet, talking about Pokemon ZA or Z-J, however you want to say it. And honestly, I didn't notice that because I skipped it. It's because I didn't really care. I mean, at the time I was kind of interested in Pokemon, but I remember I had said it in that video that like the top like the upcoming JRPGs I was interested in. I had mentioned that I wasn't really sure about that one. Like I wouldn't it's on my list, but it's not on my list at the same time because I didn't like that they said it was gonna be like a more of an action based and not turn based, like which is the formula all Pokemon games have always been. From years ever since we was kids and everything growing up. That's how it's always been the formula with turn based and everything, turn based battles and everything like that. So that didn't really sit well with me. So that's why I was like, it's kind of like iffy with that one. But I didn't know about the DLC thing because, like I said, I skipped it. When the guy had mentioned I forgot his name, the guy, the director was talking. I thought he was talking about the DLC for the Donkey Kong game for Bonanza, which is what they did, which they did announce and everything. But I didn't know that they also talked about future DLC and everything with Pokemon ZA and with some new I don't know, some new evolution or something like that with Raichu and everything that looks doesn't really look cool to me, honestly. So I was never a fan of Raichu, honestly. Like my favorite out of the three forms is always Pichu. I love Pichu, but and Pikachu would be second for me and everything like that. But I didn't really pay attention to that, But a lot of people, is upset about that because how you gonna be talking about DLC? Pay future pay DLC for a game that's not out, and everything. Which I definitely understand that and everything. Like these companies are really money hungry now, and that's all they really give a shit about. And also like what I've been saying a long time, because everyone's saying that how Nintendo is like anti-consumer and that a shady company, everything like that. And I've been saying this shit for years. I've been saying this shit for years on this channel, everything like that. And I've always been talking about Nintendo. Even before when I got the Switch back, I was talking about them and how much of like like a money hungry, greedy, evil company they are, And I would say like, damn, I don't know if I could say this, but I was gonna say that they're kind of like the lesser evil, I would say, out of the other two companies, Sony and Microsoft. But I don't really know. I mean, they're all the same. The only thing I really like about with Nintendo is that they're doing their own thing. They're not following, what the other two are doing. Um, they pretty much, they the type of games they make is different, of course, than what you see on the PlayStation or an Xbox and everything like that. So they're kind of like in their own bubble and everything like that. And what I do really like about with Nintendo is also the reason why I, kind of on his side with some things and not at the same time, and why I also got back a Switch is because they haven't followed, like pretty much like hopped on that whole woke train and everything like that with censoring games and making everything like some sort of political like agenda and everything like that. It was like as if is these developers are activists, political activists that's pushing the garbage, and things that their ideology, I should say, into these games and stuff like that. Nintendo is not about that shit. They're like, yeah, we ain't doing that. We ain't following that Western American garbage, and everything like that, poison. So that's one of the big things I can say that I really like them for. And also what I really like with them, what I really like from them that Sony's not even doing it is they're still supporting their older console with the Switch One and everything like that. Whereas opposed to the PS4 with Sony, that's not really getting games. They're kind of like abandoned in a way. They're not really releasing much games. I mean, there was an update, a system update a few days ago, which I commend them for that. But when it comes to games, they're not really releasing games anymore like that for it. And if they are getting any new games, it's only digital. So at least with the Switch One, you're still getting physical releases and stuff like that. And Nintendo already have said that they're gonna be supporting it for a long time, so which is great. With that, so at least they not abandoning the console. One of the best selling consoles, I should say. So I give them that. I really do give them that. So but that's the only positive I can say with them. But everything else that I've been reading, like listening to and everything I've been reading about, and especially what a lot of these YouTubers been talking about, like I agree 100% with that. And the thing is, when it comes to more of Switch 2, honestly, out of everything else, because that's what everyone was really talking about, what it was ranting on, and that's more of what I want to talk about as well. Not really on Nintendo as a whole, but more on the Switch 2. And it's just crazy because when they first announced and everything like that, I was hyped for it. I talked about it on here, and how I said what's it at when at the time I was really hyped for it, I was really interested in getting it, and I feel like, and I said that this is like the most hype I've been since like the 360 era and stuff like that, because what's it, they wasn't really like much changes like to it, which I liked, but I do like that the process was a little bit stronger, is like pretty much on par with the PS4. And then it was finally starting to like get into more with the multiplayer stuff, and and be able to chat with people and then parties, I believe, or whatever like that. So I was really hyped for it. And then after that, that's when a couple of people had commented on that video and everything. They had told me, like like what about other stuff, which I didn't pay attention to. It's the same thing with this direct, where some of the things I didn't pay attention to, I skipped it. I know he talked about, like, looked like pretty much just skimmed through the video and stopped at different like time stamps or whatever like that to like look for certain things I wanted that was of interest, and I looked at. I didn't really like, I watched it, but I didn't really like watch the entire direct. So that's why a lot of things I missed with this one, and the one when they had announced the Switch 2 and everything, what they were talking about, like, the features and the stuff like that. So I missed the whole thing with the game key cards and all that other stuff until when people had mentioned in the video, in the comment section of my video, and then when I went on Reddit and stuff that day, and on Twitter. That's when I found out more about that stuff and everything. I was like, oh wow, like I was not happy with that. That, and then the overpriced games. That's the two big things that I'm not fond with. And it's like, it's not really a big improvement. It's not like a huge step up from the Switch 1, So I don't see what the hype was and why a lot of people was like just pretty much on Nintendo's dicks with the Switch 2, because I don't see it as a big improvement. Okay, yeah, it can run a little bit better or whatever like that, like whoop-de-doo. And then the 4K thing, I think I heard that people saying it doesn't, like, you can't do it in dock mode or something like that. I don't know exactly how it works. Kind of reminds me of the Steam Deck as well, but which I don't care for, because I don't play games in 4K and I don't even have a 4K TV. So yeah, for you guys that want, that probably can't believe it or whatever, I like my 1080. I don't give a shit about all that stuff, high tech and super fast processors, or high frame rates, and like things that just look really good graphically. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I care about the content and getting my money's worth. If I'm paying like $80 or whatever like that, or $70, like how it is for the expensive ass Switch 2 games, I want to be getting something that's worth my money. When it comes to the content, the story, the gameplay and stuff like that. I don't give a shit about how nice and beautiful it looks, and how the world looks so nice and colorful and shit, and how fast it runs and everything like that, and it barely lags. I don't care about that. I want to get my money's worth. And if you guys are really wasting your money just to play these games in 4K now on the Switch 2 and everything, and run out of faster frames, then I don't know what to say about you people, honestly. And it's like, I feel like it's a lost cause now in this world, especially in this country, where I feel like a lot of people here is just really privileged. They have all this money that they just like to store away. They don't really know about spending or investing or anything like that, which I hate. And I feel like these are the type of people that is ruining it for us and everything like that, for us gamers and everything, as old school traditional gamers and stuff like that, because they just buying into every new garbage that these companies come out with, that sucks ass and everything, and I hate that, like that's why things will never change, and why it looks like it's mostly soon gonna be like pretty much digital only, and digital only and stuff like that. And like, there's people out there, fools out there, that just continues to buy digital. They're too lazy to go out and buy games anymore, physical games, or they just don't like have no interest in physical media no more for some reason, which I don't get why. Why not have, like, especially with these games so expensive, why, like, do you waste the money, or why not have something physical, to show for whatever, that amount of money you wasted on, and also something you can sell back to get some of that money you wasted on. I don't get that at all. I really don't get that at all, you know? So it's just crazy to me. Like I feel like, you know, like it's a lost cause. Like people's gonna continue not using their heads, you know, and everything like that. And more think and pretty much more thinking with their wallets and everything, you know, because if we don't, you know, give them the money, you know, we don't like give them the time and money for the stuff they're coming out with, then obviously they're gonna change, you know. And it goes like that for every type of industry. It's not only with games; it's the same thing I see when it comes to the smartphone industry and stuff like that. You know, and people just always gonna rush out and get these things on day one, even though they suck ass. They're not worth it, you know. And the Switch 2 is not worth it. Honestly, the Switch 1 to me is better. It's way better. At least you don't have to worry about game key cards. A lot of the games on it is cheap. You can get them really cheap on eBay. Even Amazon be having some good deals on some Switch games brand new. If you want the first party games, if you're really hooked on just mostly getting first party games with a Switch, you can always go to eBay and, you know, the eBay route, get it used or whatever like that. And you could save, you know, save a couple of bucks and everything. And also the money won't be going to Nintendo. You know, it won't be going to greedy, shady ass anti-consumer Nintendo, you know. So that's what I would say would be the best option, you know. But I don't know. Like I don't know what to say. Like I said, people are just different. Like it's just we need like more like how would you say like more like rebels, pretty much like a whole like the rebel types when it comes to the video game industry and like when it comes to us and everything like that, and to be more of the rebel types that's not like pretty much just bend it out and just like, you know, kissing these evil money hungry corporate, you know, asses and shit like that. And because if that continues, things will never change. Things will never change, you know. And it's just crazy because I know a lot of people who just like ran out to get it switched to in day one, and like, you really wasted money on this garbage. You know, like I don't get that shit at all. And then a lot of them were like hyped. Even already I've seen like people are so happy. Oh, we can finally, you know, play Pokemon Violet, Scarlet, you know, without lag, or it could run better and everything. I'm like, I didn't see no issues with it. You know, I had fun. I played it, beat it recently on the Switch one. I still need to go back to the DLC and finish that up as well. And everything I had started, but I never finished, never completed it. But I had no issues with the game. Like, yeah, it lagged sometimes, but it wasn't bad. I didn't care. You know, I still had a fun. I had a lot of fun with it. You know, but a lot of these people love to complain now, and like I said, like when it comes to a lot of people in this country, they're just very privileged now, so they just have to. They're so spoiled, you know. So it's like if it's not running, you know, at the fastest frames, or it doesn't look the nicest, or it can't do 4K, it's like they just trash it and talk shit, you know? And I don't like that, you know, because that's not what it should be about. And I feel like that's the type of gamers is what's ruining it for people like me and stuff like that, you know, that don't care about that stuff, you know? And the more they continue to, you know, whine and bitch about this stuff is the reason why a lot of these stuff is gonna be so expensive, you know? That's why the Switch 2 is so expensive, why the game's so expensive, because you guys really wanted this stuff, you know? You wanted, wanted like higher end games, you know, to run super quick on the Switch and to look so nice and beautiful and like, you know, like real life, or pretty much like you watch a movie instead of just freaking going outside. Instead of that's what you want, you know, like you just want everything to pop out of the damn TV. I don't get that. So you guys wanted this, so now you gotta pay for it. You know, so that's just how I see it with that. You know, so it's just crazy. Like, so I don't really all put the blame on Nintendo, but I also put it on the gamers as well that are continue to be fanboys of Nintendo. You know, and for nostalgia and stuff, just like with the guys in the video and everything like that. It's all for nostalgia. And it's like he said, he's gonna have like these older people, you know, like the 30s and above that, you know, that's gonna just be on Nintendo's dick for forever, pretty much, you know, and just always, you know, praise everything that they come out with, buy it on day one, no matter how expensive, like, overpriced it is, and it's never gonna change for Nintendo, you know, because they know they can get away with that stuff with over nostalgia. They know they can make money off of that stuff, you know. So yeah, and people are just gonna continue getting it, you know. I'm not. And just like another thing, real quick, that I want to talk about, even though like pretty much now I have everything in my head without you have to look at my notes. But the whole thing with the subscription, the Switch online subscription thing, and how I think when you it's like different tiers, right? I don't remember how it goes because I didn't look into. I don't care about it. But I know that I think there's like two. I think it's like three tiers in total, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's just two. Maybe it's three. I don't remember. But I know that the higher tier you have is where you can get access to a lot of the older games where you can play like pretty much emulate or whatever like that when it comes to that N64 and stuff like that. And I saw a video a couple of days ago Nintendo uploaded on here, and they talked about like two new games or something that was added to the Game Boy Advance emulator for people who had the subscription that's paying for that crap. And I was Klonoa. I forgot the name of that game. and the other one I think was called Drill, Mr. Drill or something like that. I know about the game, but I never played it, never had interest in it. But the Klonoa game I actually didn't know about on the Game Boy Advance. But you know what I can do? What a lot of these people could be doing, these fools could be doing, is playing all this shit for free in the emulator on your damn PC or on your phone or whatever like that. Like for me, I'll just be downloading my PlayStation Classic. I just play it right on my TV and everything like that, all for the price of $3.99. While these people in the comments, I was reading like this hype. Some people just say the same thing I said, but majority of them was just like just on Nintendo's ass, like like all that hype for this and everything. They can't wait. Or you need to add these games next. Like, why wait for them to add these shits that you're gonna be paying for? That's probably not even gonna run as good. If you could just get them and play it like for free, just download them and play them with a damn emulator that runs them way better. Than Nintendo ever would. I don't get that shit. So like I said, comes down to like a lot of these Nintendo fanboys are just kissing their asses and shit like that. Why things is never gonna change, and Nintendo knows this, so they can just get away with a lot of the shit they're doing. And these overpriced games, because they know their loyal fans that they don't give a shit about. They're just gonna, continue buying this stuff, and that's how Nintendo's gonna be forever. So. And it's like somebody had said, which I do agree with. I think the video said as well, but also in the comments that they said Nintendo is like the Disney of gaming, of the gaming industry. And it is true. That is definitely true. Now that they say that, I'm like, yeah, you're right, actually. I mean, you guys are right. Definitely agree with that. But I still can't believe people are hyped for emulator. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Like, I have one friend that has a Switch too, and I be seeing him playing these emulators, like emulators or whatever like that. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you paying for these stuff? Like, why are you supporting this stuff? Like, download this shit for free. I don't get that. And on top of that, he has a Steam Deck. Like, you could just easily emulate these games on the Steam Deck. That would run way better. Like, I don't get why would you pay monthly for something like this, like, or yearly or whatever. Like, it baffles me, guys. Like, it's just so dumb. And it's why a lot of these companies be getting away with this shit, especially when it comes to subscriptions. I freaking hate subscriptions with a passion. I hate that shit so much ever since they introduced it. A lot of these things that used to be free or whatever, all of a sudden now you gotta they start locking features behind paywalls that used to be available to us. They're locking them behind paywalls. You gotta do a subscription now forever, everything like that. And people are supporting this shit. They like it, There's people out there that has plenty of subscriptions. People I know that have plenty of subscriptions to all these different things, streaming, like all these different streaming apps or whatever like that. Like, why you guys supporting this stuff for? Like, it's just, I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. But yeah, so it's just really annoying. Like, I do agree 100%, like, with everything with Nintendo, especially with the Switch 2, and also why I'm happy I never got one. But like I said, the biggest reason why I didn't get it was the Game Gear cards. That's the biggest reason why. And even a lot of people have been like upset. They talk about it a lot, especially all the games that they've been announcing, everything separately, that they've been releasing separately on the channel, Nintendo's channel. A lot of these games, like, when you look at it, Switch 2 version, Game Key card, but the Switch 1 version physical. A lot of people's like, I'm just gonna get the Switch 1 version then. So like, what's the point of that? So it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. And on top of that, the Switch 2 version is more money. So you pay more money for what? A plastic empty case. That's it. Like, I don't get that shit at all. Like, this is terrible. Like, something needs to be done. Like, you guys need to just stop doing this shit and stop wasting money buying the latest stuff. Start thinking with your damn wallets and let these companies know that we mean business, So if that, well, you guys mean business, because I know I mean business, and I'm not the one supporting this shit. You guys are doing it, Stop doing it, Like, stop rushing out to buy these stuff when they're garbage. These companies don't give a shit about us. They just want the money, and that's it. While they just gonna keep releasing, garbage games and everything like that. And another thing that I remember the guy had said in the video, that I really wish I remember his name. If anything, I could just put in the comment section, whatever like that. I can go back and look for it in my history. But what's it? He was talking about the games, like a lot of these remakes and everything, which is another thing I want to talk about real quick. See, so like I said, all these stuff is coming to me without even looking at my notes. It fell on the floor, but pick it up. But yeah, put it right here. But yeah, he was talking about a lot of these remakes or remasters or whatever that has been coming out, that they released on the Switch 1, that doesn't even run as good as it did in its original console and everything like that. Like how they said with the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, he said on the Switch it runs in 30, while on the GameCube it ran in 60. I didn't even know that, honestly. I didn't even know that the GameCube had games that ran in 60, to be honest. That's new to me. I didn't know that stuff. So that's new to me, and I was like, wow, like, I can't believe a more modern console with like a better processor or whatever like that. Can I run these older game, but GameCube game, and it's proper, like native resolution and everything like that, or FPS or whatever, So it's just like I can't believe that, and it's like what I've been saying a lot when it comes to these remasters and stuff like that. It's like they're garbage to me. Like I don't be having interest. Like a lot of people have been like always hype, like oh, they should remaster this game, or should remake this game. Whatever. Like when I'm on Twitter, like since I always mention this that I follow like a lot of retro Twitter accounts and everything. They be like uploading like posting like a lot of like older games like for the PS2, PS1 or whatever like that. And there's always like that one person in the comments like, oh, they should remaster this with a Switch or remake this. I'm like, no, don't do that shit because I don't want it to to tarnish this game, whatever that we remembered playing as a child or whatever or as a teenager. I don't want it to ruin that shit. It's kind of like how I thought about it like recently because I've been really thinking about Skies of Arcadia a lot lately. Like I really want to get that game back and I will be getting it back soon and everything like that. And I was thinking about it. I was like, damn, I really wish they would have came out with a sequel. I really wish. But the thing is, I was like, it would be good for a sequel. But honestly, not in this era, not in this modern day era when we got these type of idiot devs out there now. Where they're not, they don't know anything about, they don't know anything about how these games used to be back then, how great they were, and then they just pick them up and just ruin them. But I was like, a sequel back then during that time in the 2000s or whatever like that would have been great for a sequel for Skies of Arcadia. But doing it now, hell no. that would be a mess. I would not. They would make so many changes. It would probably be like it would probably lag like shit and other stuff. It'd probably be packed with DLC. Like it would not be a good thing to do now. But I've been thinking about a lot like a lot of these games I've recently played, on the PS2 and everything like that I've beaten and other on the PS1, everything like that. And I always thought like, yeah, a lot of these games would be good to have sequels and stuff like that, but not in this day and age. Not in this day and age. Even a remaster would have been good, but not in this day and age, because they've been doing remasters for a long time and everything, which is actually new to me. I thought it was like a new trend that, they started doing since like the late 2010s or whatever like that into the 2020s and stuff like that. But it's actually something that's been going on, they've been doing for a long time. So there's like a lot of like remasters for like PS3 and stuff like that. And they've been good. They've been doing the good thing with that. But when it comes to like doing doing that stuff now, it's not the same. It's not the same. So I can't believe that though. Like when it comes to remasters and remakes, and that's why I don't care for them. Like a lot of people's always hyped for it. I'm like, nah, like don't ruin these games. Like leave it the way it is, leave it intact, and just play it that way and everything like that. If here and there some like we were like huge like diehard fans of the series back then that would come like do like a hacked version or modded version of it, that I would play, that I would respect and everything like that. Just like how it is with Final Fantasy Tactics, where there's like a lot of different hacks and stuff like that that people have made, and I played them, I like really like them, but just do it like that, don't ever like leave it in the hands of Square Enix or like any of these other AAA devs that's gonna pretty much fuck shit up, and everything like that. So yeah, so it's crazy. Like I still can't believe that. Like I can't believe a lot of those GameCube games that was released on the Switch One, it doesn't, it can't even run like the proper way it's supposed to run like it's on its original console. And that's why I always, whenever they come out with these remasters or whatever like that, I was like, yeah, I was always think to myself like, yeah, I'm just gonna get on its original hardware. Honestly, I'm not gonna bother with that. And let's see here. Anything else I had to talk about? Oh yeah, this one actually. Let me see if there's anything else because I pretty much talked about all these stuff already without even looking at this. Yeah. So only two. Oh yeah. So only two other things. I had a lot written down here. So I only have two things that I missed that I'm gonna talk about right now. So the first one is I actually didn't know about, which of course is typical Nintendo. Is when now they're trying to like pretty much have a patent on capturing like the capturing monsters feature or whatever like that mechanic, and they're trying to like pretty much like they're the only one who can make games like that, and anybody else who's doing that, they'll get sued and everything, sued to the ground pretty much, which is messed up because this is one game I actually was interested in that came out, I think it came out last year or was it the year before, on Steam and everything. I was interested in them but not really anymore, but I heard it's a really good game and everything like that. But I'm still not really a Steam guy, honestly, even though I have a Steam Deck now. I haven't even used it so long, but but they have still a lot of good games on there, and everything like that. And it was a game I was interested in. It's called Palworld and everything, and it looked interesting. Like, yeah, it looks like the monsters do like Pokemon in a way, so I kind of could understand with Nintendo, but I mean, yeah, they don't have a patent, they don't have a trademark for it, so I don't see why any like no other companies could make something with monster catching involved. I don't think that's right. And I think that to me is like, when you have like trying to pretty much become a monopoly or whatever like that is, and pretty much that's capitalism to its finest in this damn country and everything. Well, then again, from Japan, it's a Japanese company, but still, and that's something I don't like, because you telling me like no other company should be able to do something like that is like, what, how would that have anything like to do with Pokemon? How would that be related to Pokemon? It's not like they look like it. I mean, Power is a whole different thing, because they do look like Pokemon, honestly. But then again, you should be able to like, they probably was big fans of Pokemon or whatever like that, so they want to make something similar to it, and it shouldn't be a problem with that. And also, just like in the video said, like, what about Persona? They said Persona's been doing it before Pokemon, which is actually new to me. I thought Pokemon was actually older, but they said Persona's been doing it before that, so before them. So should they should they be the ones suing Nintendo for this then? So it's just crazy, because if that happens, that we're not gonna have games anymore. Like there's no other games out there that can have a monster catching feature, and that would suck. That would really be terrible. So I'm not for that at all. Definitely not for that at all. I don't know what's going on with Nintendo, but I don't know. They feel like they own the world in a way, So it's like certain things they don't want, like they're just really strict with, like, especially when it comes to emulators, when it comes to like anybody emulating the old games. They don't like that shit, because they rather you just pay for the Nintendo Online subscription shit, and then play their garbage ass versions of these games on their emulators and stuff like that, when you can just play it the right way and also for free. So they've been fighting back against that. They've been suing a lot of people left and right. So it's like, so this is the type of company Nintendo is now and everything, and they really do remind me of Disney. Now that I think about all this stuff, they really do. But I'm not for that at all. Like, that's messed up. That's messed up. And I hope something could be done with that, so that they can't be the only ones to like have have a game with monster catching mechanic, pretty much. So I don't know what you guys feel on that one. And last one, what was the last one? Because I had it here. Oh yeah, last one about with Mario Kart Worlds. So yeah, so another game that I heard like a lot of bad things about, especially according to that video, a lot of bad things I've heard, that they made it open world and everything now, so it's not the same. It's not like how it was with Mario Kart 8 and everything like that. It's where now they pretty much, Nintendo's forcing you to like play this open world type of mode or whatever like that. And a lot of people don't want that. They just want to just play on, just ride on the tracks or whatever like that. And and that's it. Like, play the tracks, like each map or whatever like that, which is the way I would want to play it too. And that's not how they want it and everything. So I'm like, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of messed up. And I think I heard from that video that they had some patches where they kind of like forcing people to not play on the tracks or something like that, or I don't know, just to play like more open world, like play more of the open world mode, which is dumb. Like, why can't you have options? And that's something I really don't like when it comes to a lot of these companies now, whether it's in the gaming industry, smartphones industry, or whatever like that. It's like they're always trying to force you to like do things their way, even when it comes to software. Like when it comes to software on phones, like on Samsung or Google or whatever like that, they're always trying to force you to do like use the software that or use the phone the way they want you to use it. You can't customize it. You can't do whatever you want, even though you paid for it. So it's yours. They still want to have ownership of it. Same thing with Apple as well. Same thing. Like, they're like super limited with their phones. You can't really customize and do shit. And for some reason, people still love that. So like, you spend all this money for something you don't own. Like, they still can pretty much take over or whatever like that. So I don't get that. I really don't get that at all. So they force you to play the game they want you to play it as. And it is true that what also, like, a lot of people have been saying, even the video have said it, the guy has said that a lot of these games now all of a sudden want to be open world. Like, not every game needs to be that way. And it is true. It is true, because this open world is overwhelming. Like, sometimes you don't want to play on a big map like that, And sometimes I feel like when a lot of games do that open world shit, it's like they don't really have nothing else to do, to add it to the game. So, oh, just have this big open world or whatever like that, to pretty much be like a filler for all the shit we could have added into the game, but we was too lazy. So like, yeah, let's have this big open, empty world or whatever. There's nothing's going on in it, to kind of like fill, I guess you could say, that void or whatever like that, or whatever type of features that they could have added, but they decided not to. So it's gonna make it open world. Don't have little linear ass boring story, and that's about it. Then call it a day. And it was the same thing what they mentioned with Metroid Prime, the new Metroid. I mean, not Metroid Prime, the new Metroid coming out or whatever like that. I didn't pay attention to that one either on the direct, so I skipped it because honestly, I'm not a fan of Metroid. Never been, honestly. It just never been my type of games. I know there's a big fan base, but I've never been a fan of them, honestly, of that franchise. But I heard that they've been working like for a long time. They've been in the works for the new Metroid, and all of a sudden now they changed it, and now they made it open world where the main character I think is Samus, right, which is a female that she's riding a bike now and everything. And they're like, really? And what is up with games and that with open world and bikes? I don't get that shit. A lot of these games are doing that now. Like even with Pokemon Violet Scarlet, like open road and bike. Like why? Why that? So I don't know, man. Like I don't know what's the hype with open world and why a lot of people like that stuff. Like I feel like not like I don't like really like linear games like that, but sometimes I do. Like now I appreciate them now. I could say like I'm not really too big on a lot of them, especially when it comes to a lot of like JRPGs that's like super linear. But in a way, I kind of can appreciate them now because at least with those games, you get a good story, you do get good content. The gameplay is there, and is really it is packed with a lot of features. So that I appreciate. You are getting your money's worth. For that linear ass game and everything like that. So I give them that. Even Persona 3, like super linear, but still need to beat by the way. But I still have to go back and beat that. But even though it's linear, they still give you things to do, even though I feel like it's still boring, but at least the story, it is a good story. I give them that. The game has kept me hooked and everything with the story and stuff like that. And they do have content. The content is there, but it's not as as I thought it would have been. But it's still is there. You are getting your money's worth. And I feel like when it comes to these open world games, it's not. I wouldn't really say you're getting money's worth, honestly. I mean, yeah, you get a big world you can explore, but what are you really doing in this big open empty world with just nothing going on? It's not like how it was when like they started introducing open world games and stuff like that. With I would say like with the 360 PS3 era, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't think they've. I mean, they kind of did have that on the PS2 as well with that game called Shadow Colossus. That was kind of like open world in a way. And even Zelda, Ocarina of Time on SD4 was open world. I just remembered. So, but even then, those games like there was a lot to do in these open worlds, And like I was saying, like when it comes to the PS3 and 360 era, when it came to like Fallout, New Vegas, and what's it, and what's the other one, the Elder Scrolls games and stuff like that. There was a lot to do, It wasn't just like a big empty world. There was things to do, But I feel like with these open world games now, there is nothing to do. It's just empty. It's you just riding from one area to the next, everything like that, and it sucks, And that's another thing too. It's just riding. Like, why can't you walk anymore? Why is these open world games you have to be on some damn bike or some shit? I don't get that, But yeah. So that's just my thoughts when it comes to open world. Before I was big on it, but not anymore. Like they're good to play here and there, but not often, And yeah, so that's that. But I heard a lot of people was not happy with it. A lot of people have been I think I don't know if it's out yet or if it's coming out soon. That new Sonic game, Sonic Racing Crossroads, I think it's called. So yeah, a lot of people is like jumping on that now. They're ready to play that. So yeah, I'm actually interested in getting it too. I'm just interested in getting it, but I'm not sure if it's out yet or whatever. I haven't really looked into that game, honestly. I just know of it, but I haven't really looked into it. But yeah, so you guys let me know about that one. But yeah, because like I said, like when it comes to a lot of these games now, I don't really like pay attention to. I don't really look into like a lot of modern games nowadays. I'm more looking to more retro games now, like the games I've never played before in the past when I was younger and stuff like that. That's the games I'm looking at and wanting to get back to play because that's where it's at when it comes to retro. You're getting your money's worth. You're getting a great story. You're getting great content. All that shit is on the disc or on the cartridge. There's no freaking DLC, no installations, no patches, and none of that garbage you have to do or whatever like that. Everything is on the damn disc. So that's what I really appreciate when it comes to retro. A lot of people have been talking about that lately, especially when it comes to like fighting games and stuff like that. It's the same thing. That's why I don't play any of these new fighting games anymore, like Street Fighter, Tekken, all that shit, because a lot of these characters that I remember playing as in the older games, they're now locked behind a paywall that you have to pay for. Like I hate that shit so much. I remember one of them. What Street Fighter was it? I forgot which one it was. I think it was 5 or whatever. One time I played it with my friend, and I wanted to use Dan. I think it was Dan because I like Dan. It was actually one of my favorites in the older ones in Street Fighter Alpha or whatever like that. And he was locked. I had to pay for him. Real money, not in-game currency, but real currency. I had to unlock him. And the same thing I think was for Blanca as well. Like, really? These are characters that was in the old games for free. Now I gotta pay for them? Like, get out of here with that shit. Like, get out of here with that shit. I'd rather just play the old ones then. You know? So yeah, and that's that, guys. So that was a little long rant and everything, talking about a lot and everything, a lot. So yeah, so that's it. You know, let me know what you guys think and everything like that. So, you know, like I said, it's what you guys like. So, you know, that's something off I'll do. So maybe now I can actually hear from some of you. But yeah. But real quick, actually, now speaking of that, I just wanted to mention this at the end. So yeah, so like I said, I am gonna be trying to build up a little audience of people who actually want to watch, you know, that enjoys my content. But I am also gonna be toning it down with some of the stuff. I'm kind of gonna not really go all out with a lot of these videos now and everything. I'm just gonna, I guess you could say, bare minimum. Because what's the point of doing all this when no one's watching it or give a shit, you know? But when that time comes, when I get the audience, then I can start doing things a little bit more fun that I want to do. But definitely for next month, my Halloween horror game series, with the things I had in mind, I'm not gonna get discouraged from, you know, from people. So I'm still gonna do what I had in mind to like do some creative, fun things for next month for Halloween and stuff like that. So I'm still gonna be doing that. But yeah, but I'm gonna kind of like tone down a lot of stuff when it comes to like some things I have in mind or things the way I do things, because then it takes more time to edit these stuff. And what's the point of it if no one watches these stuff, you know? So I'm gonna be doing that from now on and until when I pick up, when you get like a set audience of people that, you know, want to appreciate my content, you know, enjoys it, want to chat or whatever in the comment section below and share the, you know, feedback or whatever like that, and like the video, then I'll reward you guys and I can do, you know, fun things again. But that's what I'm gonna be doing from now on. And I think that's it. Yeah, so about to get ready to start cleaning up and start fixing up this area right here, get rid of all this stuff and everything. So yeah, but anyways, so let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think and everything, and do you guys agree with everything, you know, with Nintendo when it comes with all these other companies, and you know, with the Switch 2 and all that stuff. So just let me know in the comment section down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time for another episode. Take care.